Howdy, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August 11th. The time is 5:30 p.m. We're here for the regular session of the Coppell City Council. We do have a quorum present, so I am calling the meeting to order. We will be convening into executive session in the first floor conference room. At the end of the executive session, I will come back out and announce work session, at which time the public is invited and encouraged to attend. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. The time is 6:25 p.m. We have adjourned from executive session, and we will move into work session in the first floor conference room. The public is invited and encouraged to join us. Thank you. The time is 6:30 p.m. Citizens' comments will not be heard during the work session, will be heard during the regular session under citizens' appearance. We do have 4 items under work session tonight. The first one is deliberation regarding the agenda. Anybody have any questions or comments on the agenda? Mr. Don.
I think it's D on consent. I don't know where it is. I can't find my agenda now, but yeah. So one question, there's a reference on the bottom of page 5. It refers to the RTC and Rail North Texas initiatives are vital. Is Rail North Texas, is that a legitimate initiative right now?
I'm sorry.
Are you familiar with that one?
Repeat that?
Rail North Texas.
Page 5 of the legislative agenda.
Oh.
Here's the text right here.
It does say, I mean, it talks about, well, the RTC, I was just wondering if that's a holdover from the past. I can't find any reference to Rail North Texas since like 2009.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
it could be, there was a couple holdovers.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I haven't heard it.
Well, I'm just not confident there's a current initiative called
Rail North Texas, not that I'm aware of, but I
So,
can.
I thought I
It
got
just,
them all.
it's just a cleanup. Nobody would probably
Okay.
ever see that, but that's
I
all.
was like, no, I haven't heard of
Huh?
it.
You do.
Well, I'm a nerd though. Transportation nerd.
It's right next to RTC also.
I was like,
It's written right next to RTC.
Right, yeah.
I was like, I haven't heard of
You don't recognize
it.
it.
No.
That's all I have.
Oh,
That's all I got.
Was that the question for me that you had?
Well, I just didn't, we talk about rail relatively often, but I've never heard that initiative. But it, apparently
sir.
there was an initiative once upon a time, maybe 15 or 17 years ago. So,
Was that the question you had for me?
yes.
Oh,
All
no.
right. Any other
Thanks.
questions or comments on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to item B, which is a presentation deliberation regarding the drainage and utility district rate study. Mr. Garza.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I have with me Matthew Garrett from New Gen Strategies to discuss his findings on the drainage utility district rate study. He will go through the presentation, provide some recommendations, and allow some discussion and questions to move forward. So with that, I'll introduce Matthew Garrett. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and howdy, Mayor, members of council. Pleasure to be back in front of you again. Matthew Garrett, partner with New Gen Strategies and Solutions. I guess we have a slide deck. We do. That's nice. Doing a lot of presentations to councils this time of year, and this is one of my easier ones. Not because it's an easy decision for you, but because the headline rate is not a huge one. So I'll lead with that, and we'll talk about, if you haven't seen it already, what that means. This was a 5-year update to the Drainage Utility District, or Stormwater Utility, as we sometimes call it. Looking through 2031, you last looked at this in depth some years ago. I believe it was in 2019. We'll have that on a later slide. Your most recent fee was enacted in October of 2023. You do have in the 5-year horizon $29 million worth of projects. So we do expect costs to continue to increase. We've applied some inflation to those current day dollars, arriving at that $29 million. Additionally, we do think to maintain the utility in its state and to hit your key performance measures that we would recommend 25 cents on the rate, which is currently $5 per resident each year over the next 5 years. So too with commercial, they'd increase lockstep. They have a table of fees, we'll go through that a little bit. All in, and you'll see this later, benchmark to comparators in the surrounding area. Your current fee and any proposed rate increase we have is not outside of the norm for our area. Some of the details here I've already discussed. Currently, the charge is $5 per month for each residential account. You'll see you have a tiered rate. Tiered rates for your commercial and multifamily accounts are based on impervious area, so concrete roof, pavement, anything that won't allow, an impermeable surface, right? That was measured some time ago, so we haven't updated those measurements. We're using what you have effectively in the system today for your accounts. Your team does update that as new accounts come on. I'm not sure if it's as-built or aerial imagery afterwards, but I know they're doing a good job of staying on top of that. So no necessary change to the tiered structure, just want you to be aware that that's banded, right? So if you're a commercial property between 0 and 10,000 or just under 10,000 square feet, you'll pay double what a resident pays. 50 to 100,000, right, we're doing 30 times what the resident pays. And your top tier, and you have quite a few of these, big guys out there that are over 500,000 square feet, they're capped and banded, as it were, at $1,500 per month. So that's the current rate structure. Starting point here, we started this before the 27 budget was done and ready for you. Kim probably already has that produced. But here we took 26 and added inflation. So just to touch on inflationary factors, we assumed a general inflation factor equal to the municipal cost index. Salary increases are anticipated at 5%. For the construction, we did use the earthwork index average. That's a TxDOT published number. Its costs are more similar to the drainage cost than any in our standard construction cost index, for example. There are some planned staffing hires, including a new utility project manager in 2030 that are baked in. Past that, we've made a couple debt assumptions to fund that $29 million. We know that Coppell has options, so this isn't the final end-all you must use debt, but that's what's baked in to the scenario. And then lastly, you don't have a ton of room to grow, right? So we're anticipating 70 new residential units or billable properties and 115 new commercial accounts over the next 5 years. So what's in that $29 million? A couple of the headline projects. You're probably familiar with what's happening already in 26, the Arborbrook, the Hunterwood. This frees up money for Andy Brown starting in 27. And Grand Cove, I think, takes honors as the second priority, or the second highest anyways, in the coming year. And a number of other projects. I won't read them all to you, but you see how it stacks over time. And since we've anticipated debt, we'll show you what those debt service payments look like as a part of the total. So again, we do have some large one-off expenses in 26. You probably are familiar, that was with money from the general fund that came into this fund to prop up the need for some capital projects. We had a couple other, I think it was erosion mitigation projects, bank stabilization and the like, that were funded in 26. And then you'll see the projected debt service there in light blue in the coming years. We still maintain a level of cash funding. That's what you see in the capital outlays in orange. And then overall, that bottom blue layer is your operating expense. It's not growing dramatically, so that's a pretty standard rate of growth over the 5-year horizon. So again, the leftmost chart, expenses versus revenues, you see that influx, that transfer in, as it were, from the general fund helped us to do what we needed to do in the current year. Substantially different sort of expected expenses going to 27. And you'll see where we have the capital outlays and debt service versus the total revenue. Generally on debt service, you don't carry a lot of debt service, right? And so as we introduce potential debt into this utility, you'll see the debt service coverage ratio is satisfied in 28, but we fall short of that by 2031 if we do not change rates. So again, this dashboard effectively says, if we do nothing with our rates but spend according to plan, how do we fare against our metrics? So the only one really not satisfied here is your debt service coverage ratio. You'll see you have ample reserves. Again, you're a community with options. You could use some of that instead of debt funding. But again, you're in a good position from a fund balance, so that's not driving the need for this small rate increase. Instead, this quarter over the next 5 years gives you more options overall, and it allows you to debt finance or cash fund more because you have additional revenues to meet that need. So I won't belabor this. The The table is laid out pretty sequentially. It's a quarter per year. And you'll see a similar change to your commercial rates without variance. It is assumed that fees would increase in February, according to this plan, so that's why we're presenting it now. Any questions about the fee itself?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir.
On page 13, previous page.
Yes, sir.
The revenue on the far left-hand chart, I don't see the 4.6% growth on that, which is the 25 cent per. Was that intentional or?
I think it's negligible.
This is current rates. This
Well, right
rate
now
is-
it's current.
This rate is current rate.
Yeah, I understand.
You'll see
but-
a bit of growth, Mayor. That's about all you'll see on this chart.
Okay, not substantial then.
No, sir. I mean, it's almost, to the naked eye, you probably couldn't tell. There is a small growth factor, that very minimal growth that we talked about. We do have a subsequent slide with projected rate increases. And I think you'll see a bit more slope there, but it's still a pretty modest one. I can advance to that one now if that'd be
Anybody,
preferable.
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. If you can please go to slide 13, that,
Yes, sir.
that $29 million,
13?
go back one.
Back further?
Yeah, this one.
Yes, sir.
So, for the future years, those project costs, is that maybe it's a question for you, is that an internal estimate or has some vendor given us that quote?
It's internal estimate,
My concern is if our vendors get a hold of this, they'll know how much we are planning to spend. So is that a good thing?
It's, for what we do is, we use this as a planning tool for us, with our estimates and the vendors, our consultants, but when we, for example, the Heather Glen, we recently got a consultant to provide us an estimate for the design and an estimate for, and it's in line, we didn't give them this, but it's in line with what we put up here, and so
Okay.
we kind of checked that.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, for your 5-year planning, you have to come up with those numbers. So it's a trade-off there. And you mentioned that we could either fund it through a bond or use cash reserve. At the rates that you're proposing, will we have the same, are the equally good options, whether we cash fund it or bond fund it?
No, sir. I think you'd rapidly deplete your cash if you tried to fund 29 million here.
Okay.
So we think in the 5-year horizon to do it all on timing and on plan. I do think the capital structure could handle some cash,
Okay.
maybe a little more cash. We haven't optimized or tried to reduce to the bare bones the debt that we issue. Instead, we think this plan, because it's relatively modest, unit of measure, a quarter per month on a monthly bill to the average resident or to all residents. We think that gives you a little headroom to do a little more cash, but now you have the debt capacity, and as we'll prove out here on the next slide, you'll be able to meet that debt service coverage should you desire to actually debt finance all of it. I know Kim and her team will have other future discussions, right, as to how to fund this, and you'll make those decisions as a part of appropriation every budget. But here you have a plan that works even if you need to debt fund it all. Not all, but a large portion. All right, thank you. Good questions. All right, so this is, as the mayor pointed out, current rates, very modest increase to our overall revenues here. These were the proposed rates with those increases. Here you do see a little bit better slope with the rate increases that we're proposing for you, plus that very modest growth in counts. So here we have just satisfied, if you were to look at this and say, what's controlling the rate? We're at 1.25 as a debt service coverage target in 2031. As you know, as we issue debt, that then carries a coverage requirement. As we showed you in the plan, we have debt every year. And so every time you issue debt, that's going to increase your debt service need. And so we just proved this satisfies it in each year. But of course, we don't think you're going to take final action on the 5-year rates tonight or the budget for 2031 either. But this is our best guess as to how that's going to look. And then to the council member's question, your reserve balance over there, while ample, it would leave you wanting for all of your cash capital needs if you wanted to go that route. Any other questions about kind of the nuts and bolts? All right, so benchmarking then, looking at your residential rates compared to the comparator market. We work with a number of communities on a number of utilities and general fund work, and we know they're evaluating some of this in some of these communities, but we don't have their adopted rates yet for comparison. Right now, you're in the middle of the pack. So if you moved up to 5 1/4, you'd be on par with McKinney. An example property here you have for an auto shop, 30,000 square feet, kind of falls into that band on the lower end of the spectrum, only paying $18 at the bottom of the stack by comparison to other communities. Not all communities have a tiered system. Some will charge each uniform impervious area by 100 square foot or some other measure. So there are different designs that you could choose, but favorable here. For a restaurant at 75,000 square feet, that's gotten into another tier, and in this tier, this particular subject property at 75,000 square feet sits in the upper quartile. And that's a hazard of bands in general, right? If you put some level on the low side and some level on the high side down the middle, you're gonna have, we'll call them winners and losers. We'll have somebody paying a little bit more than the effective unit rate and someone paying a little less per square foot. But administration of that for your team is much simpler in the tiered rates. Another example property, 186,000 square feet. This is an entertainment venue, paying $350 a month, kind of the upper quartile. Now we're getting to the big guys, 400,000. This is right up to your largest tier, not in the largest tier yet. Paying $700 per month. Again, upper quartile. And then for the really big guys, near 2 million square feet here. These are subject properties within your community. Paying $1,500 is certainly on the bottom of the comparator set, or near that bottom quartile anyway. So that's because you've effectively capped it regardless of how much they're breaching that 500,000 square feet. All right, with a few examples and with a rate plan of 25 cents per month each year, we are anticipating you'll look at this as a part of the budget. No action, of course, in the workshop, but any other questions for me that I can assist with tonight?
Don?
Just out of curiosity, if you go back to like the residential rate benchmark,
Yes, sir.
I was just curious if you had any insight. So Irving's the big winner across the board on all this, but like there's such a variation even on this residential from where most of us are up to where like Coppell and Irving. Do you have any insight into those other communities? Is it just they're behind in their stormwater fund, or?
So I can say, not in this exact comparator group, but I have a South Texas, San Antonio area client that literally funds half through their general fund, and they take and they sweep those dollars, and they move, it's about 50-50 mix, and they will take general fund dollars and move it into the utility fund so they can recognize the expenditure in that utility, but it's purposeful funding. Some of these communities, through their INS rate, they will fund a good portion of their capital infrastructure through the interest and sinking portion of their tax rate. So that's another avenue to do this capital infrastructure where it wouldn't be evident in the fund itself. Besides that, you've just got a lot different blend. I can say, even though they're pretty high on the chart, I think it was Irving, some of them just choose to charge commercial differently too. And so, there's not an untapped gold mine for you to change your rate design, but there could be some upside if you were to charge more on that top tier, but not enough to change maybe the game for your residents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just curious because it was
dynamics.
a lot of differences. Just I'm assuming just of management and financial decisions they've made.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and if it's fair to say in this room, sometimes politics equals everything. And I've done great rate studies, they're gung-ho, it's gonna be $2 more, and then water hits them or taxes hit them, and it's budget season, they don't want 4 things to introduce. You've made those tough decisions here, I don't have to, but I've seen a number of councils say, okay, we'll let this one scrape along, or we'll let the general fund subsidize or help it, because we don't want another banner rate change, honestly.
Okay, just curious.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, Mike, it's related but not on this topic. Do we offer any kind of incentives for those commercial businesses with large footprint to conserve rainwater.
Right now, we don't, but I will say that the state is looking into requiring a credit-based fee for impacts to some sort of on-site detention or rainwater harvesting or something. So right now, it's not in our plan or required.
Thank you. One more follow-up, maybe a question for Ken. Is Ken here? She's not here. Ken, maybe we can follow up later. I'm interested to know if this rates will apply to seniors as well, or is there any exemption after a certain age? So,
They're applied uniformly
okay,
to all residents, all property owners.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna say, the seniors do get a 10% discount on their water, but that is independent of their sewer charge.
And this is.
This is
Sorry,
stormwater.
stormwater, sorry, I missed, yes, stormwater, yes. I just wanna make sure that that's where the discount happens on that bill. Okay, just, thank you.
I do want to clarify next steps. So with your discussion and thumbs up on whether or not we want to proceed with the 1/4 cent, the next step would be we would come back to council with a resolution identifying this rate change as well as the master fee schedule update for the rate change, but the rates won't go into effect until February for the next budget year cycle, so.
One follow-up, Mayor. So Mike, for the dirt, it's completely self-contained, so there is no transfer from general fund or any other buckets?
Correct.
If I can clarify, with the exception of the one-time transfer, the large transfer,
Not routine, right?
Yeah.
not on a regular basis.
And it's dedicated only for stormwater projects.
If there is a transfer, it will come for you.
Correct.
It's not a routine.
Thank you. And the intent of me asking that question is, I wanted to see if this rate increase will fully sustain this bucket, or if we are constantly going to go back and dip from general fund or any other buckets, then this rate is not.
The hard part with this particular rate and the projects that we have, a lot of it has to do with Mother Nature too. Thing along the creeks and storm drain and projects pop up that we weren't expecting all the time related to the stormwater, and so that we went a period of time where we didn't need this, and then now it seems like we're getting more and more frequent rain events that are causing damage and problems for us, and so more and more projects are popping up, and we're trying to get ahead of them, but creeks and Mother Nature do things that give us a little bit of work, so.
All right. Do we have a thumbs up for Mike to go ahead? Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, item C is a presentation regarding the 2026 electric code. Mr. Schubert.
People are like, how do you eat it? And then her daughter painted their colors. They do too. I forgot to add it to the calendar, but I'm the only one that's gonna be on working month. I have senior sunrise. Do y'all have senior sunrise?
Good evening, Mayor and
Gabby has
Council.
senior sunrise.
Presenting you the proposed adoption of the 2026 National Electrical Code. Been 3 years since I came to you guys with the 2023, and now we're looking at adopting the 2026. Again, this is in order for us to be able to keep on par with the state. The state is moving forward with the adoption of the 2026 as of September 1st. And this is just the excerpt of the TDLR, Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, adopting the latest, greatest codes as they become available. And like I said, this is going to be effective on September 1st. In order to help streamline this for tonight, since you guys do have a very busy evening, basically I just changed everything over to bullet points. The adoption of the 2026 National Electrical Code and the city ordinance was passed through our Building and Standards Commission on August 6th. They did approve it for you guys to be able to review it and make your decision on whether or not you want to move forward with the adoption. Basically, all we did was update a lot of the verbiage throughout the ordinance to try and get rid of items that were either outdated or really did not work well for us or our residents or our contractors. We changed the dates to 2026, removed references to the electrical code not being a design specification or instruction manual, which I think kind of goes without saying. Removed a reference to a section that has not existed in our ordinance for several years as well. And remove sections that reference electrical licenses issued by municipalities. There's 3 different sections that were removed from ordinance referencing that, simply because no municipality issues electrical licenses anymore. That's all done at the state level, has been for years. I also removed a reference to Article 3271A of Vernon's annotated Texas statutes. That became obsolete when the Texas State Board of Professional Engineers came into place. Also removed a reference to how long we hold on to electrical permit records, simply because we follow state law. So that just puts us on par with what we have to do by state law. And really, that's about it. That is everything. We do not have any amendments to the 2026 National Electrical Code proposed. We're proposing that the code be adopted as is. And I do have some examples if you guys are interested, and differences between the 2023 code and the 2026.
Any questions or comments? I did have, just a clarification. You said when Vernon's annotated Texas statutes, what was the relation to the Texas professional engineers?
The portion that's referencing in our city ordinance was superseded when the Texas State Board of Professional Engineers was formed, and the Texas Occupations Code for the electrical
It was
engineers.
formed in 1920.
It's when it was, those old references, they codified everything, 1987. So all those old numbers, it shows repealed, and it's been moved in the occupational code.
Okay.
That's all that's referenced.
You're telling me Kevin has something to say?
He has.
Kevin?
Building Standards Commission, unanimous approval?
Yes.
You feel good about it?
Yes, if you guys will indulge me for a second. One of the changes that is coming up in the 2026 National Electrical Code actually helps out our residents and our contractors a lot. Underneath the 2023 code, you could not have a receptacle on the side of a peninsula or an island in the kitchen. You couldn't. If you wanted a receptacle there, it had to be a pop-up. As I've been telling everybody, you look at a receptacle at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, you name it, it's $3 or $4 for a receptacle. $3 or $4. By requiring it to be a pop-up, well, pop-up receptacles start out at over $80 each. You want a nice one, you're looking at a couple $100 for a pop-up receptacle. Well, underneath the 2026 code, they are reinstated. You can have them on peninsulas and islands again, except now all it says is it can't be in that 24-inch gap measured from the top of the counter down. Once you get below that, you can have receptacles again. And that helps out everybody. And that's where you plug in your phones. That's where you plug in your vacuum cleaner, everything. So that is actually a huge improvement. The rest of the improvements, it's highly technical stuff that is not going to affect the industry financially in any way, shape, or form.
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. So unlike the electrical engineering mayor here, I didn't understand most of the text you have there. So for a new business or a new business is trying to pull a permit and going through the checklist with you, what would be the average increase in cost
None.
to get a permit?
We're not proposing any changes in our permit fees at this time.
But they would have to make changes for you to issue a permit, correct?
No. And luckily, the references that we have are a little outdated, but they did not affect the permitting process or anything like that.
Okay.
At the end of the day, no matter what, we're held to state law as well as the National Electrical Code. So those references really don't affect anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Ramesh, I didn't read all the NEC, it's like hundreds of pages, but there was nothing substantial to impact you as a homeowner or even a small business owner. They're not making you use palladium coated wires or anything like that, so.
Good to know.
All right. Thank you very much, we're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item D is a presentation of the deliberation regarding fiscal year 2027 work plan.
Thanks, Tracy.
Tracy, we're not even done with 26 yet.
That's correct.
Okay.
We like to look ahead.
Good paper.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. They are, it's one page double-sided. I am here today to present the draft of the fiscal year 27 work plan. So this is our first work plan based on the new revised Vision 2040 strategic plan. So it will look a little bit different. We've condensed some of those pillars down. And so it looks a little bit shorter than it used to. So what I'd like to do is kind of cover some of the highlights with you today. Tonight, I am not asking for approval of this document. I'm presenting it to you here. You'll have some time to digest it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those either tonight or anytime between now and September 8th. This will be included as one of the agenda items on September 8th to be approved as part of the budget, closing up of the budget process. So you will recognize the goals that are in here. Those are the goals that were prioritized by the council in February. One of the new features that I included this year is the ranking on the far left, and so you'll notice that'll give you some reference point to how important you prioritize some of those particular goals. So the fiduciary and the infrastructure were your top rated goals, and we have a number of items that are listed in the work plan in support of those two goals. Most of the items that you see, so if you look down the list, there's quite a few in that foundation pillar for the sustainable foundation that have the SFE department as the lead department for those. Almost all of those items are forward-facing initiatives to explore different software that will help us be resilient as we look forward into the next 5 years. And so it's a lot of different technology, it's a lot of things that will help us with some of the routine tasks that SFE as well as the whole organization has to do in order to just operate. So things like accounts payable, procurement, those types of things. Some of the projects that you see under the infrastructure, those will look very familiar to you. Many of those are sort of underway already. And then we've got the Pillar 2 on fostering an inclusive community fabric and unique Coppell experience. And so all of the work plan items in that pillar are really focused on enhancing the neighborhoods that we have in our community and really focusing on how we can work with the neighborhoods in a really comprehensive and layered fashion to hit all of the stakeholders that contribute to the quality and the quality of life that we have in our neighborhoods, both from a physical infrastructure of the homes that you see there, as well as the social capital infrastructure that you have there on whether you know your neighbors and how we can contribute to that. Pillar 3 is forward, so all of the, so 2 and 3 sort of work together. And then if you'll flip that over onto the back side, so then Pillar 4 is around economic vitality. And so you'll notice both of those two goals that are listed there are very highly rated. They're really going to focus on exploring how we can continue growing our community, knowing that we are built out, and so growing our community is going to take the form of redevelopment. It's going to take the form of something different than just greenfield. And so what would that look like, and how can we position ourselves well? And then we get into transportation networks on Pillar 5. And then, so that will focus a lot on the work that Community Experiences did for the Trails Master Plan, and start incorporating a lot of that work into then what are the next steps for implementation. And then we've got our Smart City approach to community sustainability and resiliency, and that will really focus on the Smart City Master Plan and the roadmap. That is the major initiative that we have under there. So I'll pause now to give you all an opportunity to discuss or ask questions. And as I mentioned, this is not something where I am seeking final approval and direction tonight. You'll have some time to digest this before September 8th.
Bad question, Don?
Just sort of talk about the process when y'all come up with this. I'm assuming CMO and all the directors and everything all get together and decide what's gonna go into this work plan. Is that how that works?
Yes, so after the retreat that that you guys provide the priorities, each of the departments, I send those out and the departments go and then have discussions with their teams and said, how can we support these goals and priorities that the city council identified? Then we go through a process at the leadership team level for the directors and really think through, okay, what is feasible? What do we have capacity to do? What is gonna have the most bang for our buck in terms of outcomes that we can push this ball forward? And that's where we end up with what you see here tonight.
Okay, and then the new budget dollars, those are already baked into the
They are in the
27
budget
budget.
that
It's
you have
already
seen already,
proposed.
yes.
Okay, all right, I think.
Yeah, so for example, if you're looking on that back page still on Pillar 4 for the special district, that $10,000 that's listed there, that was in the legislative travel budget, so that's already, all of those costs are already included in what you have seen previously.
Okay, looks good to me.
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a comment, Tracy, the ranking, I know the council gave that. Many of the items listed in the goals column, and for the benefit of who is listening in, when we did our Vision 2040 refresh, the consultant did talk to a lot of residents, and we did take input from our residents to update this, correct?
Yes, so all of the goals, some of them were changed, just the verbiage to make them easier to understand. The language in the pillars themselves was changed, so this plan represents all of that feedback.
My point is, we listened to the residents and we adopted or edited this plan based on their feedback.
Yes, we amended the strategic plan based on all of that feedback, and all of this is based on that strategic.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Hey, Tracy, so could you explain a little bit more about Explore a Smart Hub in Old Town? It's the last one on there?
Yes, I'm going to let my
Just,
city manager friend.
it doesn't have to be
Collins do that.
detailed, just curious.
Want to
as-
hang
as-
out with you, I'm really smart.
So the idea is, and we're gonna be working with some partners, outside partners on this, but the idea is, when we learned during Winter Storm Uri that the infrastructure we rely on may not be as resilient as we would like. And so the idea here is to create a hub in the Old Town area where the city already has some significant assets between Life Safety Park, the Service Center, the Arts Center, Fire Station, the Arts, the Animal Services as well. So we have the city has a number of assets, plus the infrastructure we've installed down there, that we could build on to create an area that would be resilient, kind of in no matter what.
Okay.
So whatever you might imagine, whether that is, access to Wi-Fi or access to electricity, all those things would be available in the Old Town area.
So, and just so I can understand, is this more of a infrastructure build out for the city of Coppell, or would it be available to residents in case of an emergency?
It's the ability to continue to operate the community as well as provide relief and access to residents in those types of events.
Is it fair, like how we have warming centers, where an expansion of services potentially available to people?
Potentially, that's the idea, and that's why this says explore.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot to that, there's a number of layers, and it probably ends up fitting into the smart city roadmap and master plan.
Well, I appreciate putting a little bit of, structure and tactileness to what that idea could look like. The second thing I had was, in the pillar 5, the last one, exploration of mobility on demand. Is this looking at like microtransit type things, and is this a expansion of our lift program? What does that particularly look like?
Yes.
All, oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's a- So, I mean, there's a number of, it's sort of layered also, and it
Absolutely,
is, we have seen, because the LIFT pilot program has been so successful, we know there is some demand there, and so what would that look like, knowing that now we kind of have all of the transit around us is done?
Yes.
And so now we kind of have certainty around what are those assets then that we can start integrating into our system.
And part of what will probably play in is, I was with the DCTA CEO this morning, and he said that our use of SPAN has significantly grown this past year.
Yes, the Neville's household is taking advantage of SPAN, so yes, we
I
are.
don't think it was just the Neville's household.
I think you're.
He said it's been very, very effective here.
I think that that's really interesting, because we've obviously seen a number of cities around us, I know, that have taken advantage of microtransit programs, you know, that they've installed them in their cities. So it'd be interesting to see what that'll look like for our community, and obviously connecting in with our regional transportation hubs and things, you know. I think it'd be interesting to explore what that would look like on the residential side, or the non-commercial side, let me just put it that way. So what would that look like? So interesting. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
One question for me, to help my memory, we combined pillars 0 and 1 together?
Well, no, it used to be pillars 2 and 3, so the foster inclusive community fabric used to be pillar 2, and then preserving the unique Coppell community oasis used to be pillar 3, and we combined old pillar 2 and old pillar 3 into new pillar 2.
And so what happened to pillar 1?
There's just nothing to work.
Pillar 1 is perpetuate a learning environment.
And it's stored lovely.
It just did not have one of the things, which is just,
I remember.
as a general statement, doesn't mean we're not doing anything in those.
It's just not moving forward. It's just in a
We
status
are
quo.
providing the level of service tomorrow that we are providing today related to those.
I just remembered it was,
Correct.
I remembered it was lower.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That helps. Any other questions for Tracy?
Would it be fair to say what Mayor was just asking, is that we're not necessarily applying new dollars to develop new programs or reallocate dollars for
Correct.
new
So
programs? Is that a good way to say that?
the goals in pillar 1 were not rated 0 on fallback. We don't want to fund those things. They were rated at maintain status quo. And so the amount of investment we are doing today is what the community will see moving forward.
Excellent. Thank you for articulating
Yes.
that.
Right.
Yeah, if you have any other follow-ups when you get home and you have more questions, we're happy to answer those.
Okay, just keep in mind that, you know, there's no action and nothing required of us, but this will go into the plan for 27 and 28. So we will be seeing the impact of this in our January work session, and we'll see it in next year's budget. So this is the beginning of the basis of the next series of planning documents, so just keep that in mind. All right, anything else? Well, therefore, the time is 7:13 PM. We're at the end of work session. We will move into the council chamber for the regular session of the city council at 7:30. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. The time is 7:31 PM. We're going to move into the regular session of the Coppell City Council. Just as a reminder, persons wishing to speak during the citizens' appearance or the public hearings must sign the appropriate register located outside the council chambers and list your address. This evening, we have Dr. Sumesh Jacob of the First United Methodist Church of Coppell to give our invocation, and then we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance, so please remain standing. Sumesh?
Thank you, Mayor, and the officials for this opportunity. Let us spend a moment in silence, remembering the situation of wars in different parts of our world, especially the crisis in the Middle East region and its repercussions to the wider world, including the loss of persons of our country's armed forces and their families who grieve. Let us also remember the situations that we face in our country of wildfires and floods, people who face them, those working and helping them, divisions among people on various fronts, gun violence, the immigration crisis, and others that come to our heart and mind. Let us remember too our schools, especially Coppell ISD, the students, educators, and staff as they begin a new school year this week. Let us remember all these with prayer in our hearts for comfort, peace, and blessing. Let us pray. Let us pray. O God, you made us in your own image, and by your Spirit you work to redeem us through Jesus, your Son. Look with compassion on the whole human family. Take away the arrogance and hatred which infect our hearts. Break down the walls that separate us. Unite us in bonds of love, and work through our struggle and confusion to accomplish your purposes on earth, that in your good time all nations and races may serve you in harmony around your heavenly throne. So guide the nations of the world into the way of justice and truth, and establish among them that peace which is the fruit of righteousness. You are the source of all wisdom and understanding. And so be present with these who take counsel here in our city's council meeting to continue doing the work of our community. Bless them that they may consult together for the common good. Direct their thoughts and words, concerns and deliberations, that all their decisions may be pleasing to you and be for the welfare of all in this city of Coppell. Through Christ our Lord we pray. Amen.
Item number 6 is a proclamation proclaiming August 11th, 2026 as Assistance League of Coppell 25th Anniversary Day. And I'd like to invite members of the Assistance League of Coppell to come join me. Whereas Assistance League of Coppell is an all-volunteer nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the lives of children, adults, and seniors through programs that strengthen the Coppell community, and whereas founded in 1999 and officially chartered in 2001, the Assistance League of Coppell has proudly served the Coppell community for 25 years through volunteer service and community support. And whereas the organization provides programs such as Operation School Bell, Helping Hearts, Youth Today, and Service Learning, which offer school clothing, essential supplies, food, assistance, student scholarships, literacy monitoring, drug abuse prevention, mental health promotion, and other services to those in need. And whereas the members of the Assistance League of Coppell and its Assist Teens of Coppell Auxiliary have given thousands of volunteer hours to support local youth, seniors, and families. And whereas the organization's dedication to serving others has made a lasting difference in the lives of many residents and continues to strengthen the Coppell community. Now, therefore, I, Wes Mays, Mayor of the City of Coppell, do hereby proclaim August 11th, 2026 as Assistance League of Coppell 25th Anniversary Day in the City of Coppell and thank its members, volunteers, and supporters for their dedicated service to our community. In witness thereof, I've set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Coppell to be affixed. It's the 11th day of August, 2026. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank
And Bobby, I bet you had a little something to say.
And I've always told them, never give me a microphone. I just want to thank everyone for this proclamation and to share a few things with you of why that happened. This past year, we gave back to the community $43,400. We served 4,500 people, and that was over 3,000 hours of volunteer hours. And when the money went to CISD, all of our money stays here. We gave central office of CISD for clothing, food, and other things, $11,883. We gave Laura Springer at the high school $1,000, Zane Porter $500, Marcy Waters over at Victory Place, she got $1,000 in gift cards and $1,000 in for her discretionary fund because that's where there's a lot of need. We gave $1,000 to the Sac Summer Hunger Program through Coppell Cares, $300 to each of the defensive Hope Squads at the various high schools, and $3,000 worth of scholarships. And every Tuesday, you'll find our people at River Oaks and St. Joseph's doing crosswords with the assistants, the people there to help keep their minds bright and going. And we can't forget, we have assistants ages 7th grade through the 12th grade, which in 2021 or 20, I've got my dates off. Anyway, when they were started a few years ago, we started with 16. This year we have 52, and we had to cap it at that because of meeting space. And these kids are totally self-sufficient with Assistance League members as their mentors. Thank you all very much.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank all of you. You've brought so much joy and so much relief into this community. And you've taught so many young people just the value of volunteerism. And I'm just so thankful for everything y'all do. And, you know, every time I show up trying to volunteer for something, there's kids from your program that have already beat me there. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Councilmember Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. Assistance League, thank you guys so much for everything that you do. I just have to share a personal story. So today, my mother's been going through some health challenges over the past few months, and she's over at River Oaks right now. And I was sitting there visiting with her, and sure enough, the Assistance League rolls in. They're like, we're ready to do some crosswords. Now, I understand there was a music program that was happening that day, and I saw the look of disappointment in the volunteers' faces because they were like, man, I really wanted to do some crosswords today. So, but that service, I mean, just that one program alone, it's worth a weight in gold, you know, just for investing in all segments of our population. And so I appreciate you guys bringing warm smiles and friendly faces and, you know, keep people going. And so it just means a lot. So thank you for all you do. And I know I just spoke to one small segment of our population. You guys do so much and you have such a big reach in our community. So thank you for everything you do. It is greatly appreciated.
Can we get a photograph?
Absolutely. So I just wanted to express my appreciation for everything that you do. I can't remember, we were having a meeting a couple of weeks ago. I think it was the Mayor Pro Tem made a comment that this city would not be what it is without our volunteers in this community, and you guys are an exemplary example of that. So thank you very much.
You ready? Right here, please, Tony. Hello. He's so smart, isn't he?
All right, item number 7 is our citizens' appearance. Persons wishing to speak must sign the register and list their address. Presentations by individuals shall be limited to 3 minutes each, during which time speakers must remain at the podium, face forward, and address only the mayor and council. Persons signed up to speak will be called in the order they signed up. In order to maintain an orderly and respectful meeting environment and to conduct the public meetings and business, speakers will adhere to the outlines outlined in Ordinance 2025-1633. There will be no comments or deliberations from the City Council due to the Texas Open Meetings Act. We do have one person that has signed up to speak, and that is a welcome back to Ms. Amanda Van Hooser. I think I'm probably the only person that was here when you served us, so welcome. Well, Brianna, I'm sorry.
Don't give up on
How do I
her.
forget Brianna? So, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm Amanda Van Hoosier, 214 Fieldcrest Loop, and Mayor and Council. I am here just to, I'm delighted that the consent agenda B for the engineering, design, reconstruction project on Fieldcrest Loop is coming up in your consent today. But I wanted to give you a personal experience from the drainage problems there on Fieldcrest Loop. Since I have lived there since 1989, I built my house there. And there's three things that I noticed, and I'm just going to go through those three, and then I'm out. So the first thing is when we moved in, I realized that the driveways and the conduits did not match the flow of the water. And so over and over, some of the conduits have crumbled over time, but even in the beginning, I think the neighborhood was there. There was 4 lots when we built our house, and it was noticeable right away that we were going to have drainage problems. We have ditches instead of curb and gutter there. The second thing is over the years, different homeowners have filled in their ditches like they don't even have to have them. Culverts have been taken out, and today I did a walk around, and over half of the homes have flat yards and no ditches. So where's the water going? Because there's no place for it to drain to. So I don't know if you've ever driven Fieldcrest Loop, but you will notice that it is not been there has been no oversight on how the drainage is. I have gone to the city multiple times about this. And then the third is really just my property backs up to the cul-de-sac. So if you look at the map, I have 2 of the cul-de-sac large lots that come into my backyard, and the water flows out of those lots across my backyard. On June 7th of this year, when we had the big rain event, I had to be out on my back porch with a broom the entire time to make sure it wouldn't come into my French doors in the back. I had on boots, and it was up to my shins all through my backyard and my side yard. Because also there's a house that was built next door that used to be a vacant lot, and on that vacant lot for 20-some years, it was always a pond every time that it would rain. A house was built there in 2022, and that property was set higher, a foot higher than all the other properties, so that they didn't get any of the water. And so that has also increased the amount of rainwater in the area. So I appreciate you, and I'm excited that it's happening. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments tonight. Item number 8 is our consent agenda. Our consent agenda is routine in nature and is generally enacted in a single motion. These items have been previously approved through the budget or past council actions. Any item may be pulled and considered separately. Full descriptions are available on the screen. Council, you have any questions or wish to consider one of the items separately? Seeing otherwise, I will be willing to take a motion. Councilmember Prem Kumar.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve consent agenda items A as in alpha to D as in delta.
Seconded by Councilor Hinojosa Smith. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill, none opposed, motion carries.
Okay, item number 9 is a item that I must recuse myself from. I do serve on the HOA Board of Directors for the association that is adjacent to this property. So the Mayor Pro Tem will be filling in my absence. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor Mays.
Okay, there's a couple of pieces of paper you need here.
It's always the paperwork. Ah, thank you. Okay, well, Mary, go ahead. We'll open the public hearing. Yes.
Item number 9, hold a public hearing and consider approval of Plan Development 214 Revision 11 Commercial, PD 214R11-C, a zoning change request from PD 214R2-C to PD 214R11-C to allow for the detailed plan development of a 14,480 square foot commercial center for retail and medical uses on approximately 2.03 acres located at the south side of Sandy Lake Road, approximately 560 feet west of Denton Tap Road.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, we've now opened the public hearing on item 9. At this time, as Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to request the City Council move into a closed executive session regarding Agenda Item 9 as authorized by Section 551.071, subsection 2 of the Texas Government Code for the purpose of seeking confidential legal advice from the city attorney for this agenda item. Okay, it is now 8:39. We've reconvened back to the open meeting, the public hearing, and out of executive session. And so I just wanted to say a couple of things. First, the city acknowledges that there is a supermajority requirement and that the individuals that have submitted the petition have met the 20% requirement. We've also decided that just in light of the fact that some information was lately received, that we're going to continue the current public hearing. We're not going to close it. We're going to continue it for 2 weeks to the next meeting date. Now, having said that, we are not going to do the city presentation or put any of that on tonight. However, because we're only continuing the hearing, anyone that would like to speak in favor or against, or make a presentation in favor or against at the next meeting will have full opportunity, no prejudice whatsoever. But if you would like to say something tonight, we're willing to give you that opportunity as well. But everything's going to be decided. The city presentation will be made. I expect the developer presentation will be made at the next meeting. I expect there will be some type of homeowner presentation provided as well. You can do it tonight because I'm not closing the public hearing, but if you would rather do it all at once when everyone else is doing it, and if you'd rather reserve all statements, and this is to the developer, to the homeowners, to everyone, until the next meeting when we're doing it all at once, you have that right.
Is that in 2 weeks?
If you don't mind, please, sir, name and address.
Yeah, my name is Vishy Subramaniam. I live at 126 Wild Plum Drive. I live right behind the proposed development of PD. One of the things that we are waiting for is a response back from the Texas AG. We have asked for some information from the city, and the city has told us that they have referred it to the AG. So we have filed a brief with the AG, and we are waiting for a response back from them. We still don't have it, and I'm hoping that we will get it before in the next 2 weeks. So we are ready for the presentation back to you folks. So that's one thing that we would like for you folks to consider before you set the agenda, because once you set the agenda, it looks like we can't change it. So we just request that. And we'll be ready for the presentation again in 2 weeks, as long as we get the response.
What would you like, sir?
There are a bunch of things that we have put in the brief, which we can forward to which we have said it to the.
If you could just be a little closer to the microphone,
I'm
sir,
sorry.
to make sure that you're on the record.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
There is a bunch of things that we have requested in the brief, and the brief has been sent to the city too. I'm hoping, at least the AG's office did mention that they will be sending the brief to the city and to the city attorney. So I do not know if they have sent it. If they haven't sent it, I am more than glad to send it to the city secretary and copy Attorney Hager. Fair?
I don't know what they're asking for that's different from the PIR. Well, tell us what it is. I don't care if they need a minute to go read it. Maybe we can just get it to them so we can get on it.
I can send it to you, sorry.
Okay, I'll be glad to, I'll go ahead, Bob. I'll be glad to repeat it if you like.
I just, they went the PIR route, so we exercised the rights that we are entitled to do that as far as what was requested. We've now confirmed, I know they asked for all of the shape files, all of the list of who we sent notices to, how we calculated, what the data was, what the metadata is. We're done with the calculation, we're over 20%. Do you still want that?
No, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
That is not the one that we are talking about. There is another one that we sent before.
Can you
If
tell
you
me
could
what it
just-
is?
Yes,
Let us
I
know
will,
what it is,
I will have
please.
to read it. I don't want to state something on record that I'm wrong.
Okay.
Basically, I just want to send it to you folks. I will definitely send it to you folks.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yes, Mr. Subramanian, that's,
Mayor and council, I don't want to make a promise when I don't know what I'm promising.
No, you don't know the, I'm not asking you to promise anything here. All I'm saying is we will send it to you and you can review it and then you can respond back to us. So I'm not asking any promises here.
I understand, sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sending that to us. We'll take a look at it and,
Yeah.
and I'm
Thank you.
sure we'll be getting back to you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, Of course, yes. You
So
may,
one request that we would like to
name
make
it-
is
name and
that-
address,
so,
please.
sorry. Monica Panda, 114. You all know me, but Urban Manners Drive. I'm a frequent flyer. So, the one request we'd like to make is that the person or the person in charge who did this traffic study be here to answer any questions. We haven't had a chance to do that. We briefly heard from the civil engineer at the P&Z meeting. That was a little vague. We would like more information as to, we do have the PIR, but is there, and that was also the P&Z's ask, that will the engineer be present at the city council meeting? So just something that we would request that be made available to us, either in the form of a city representative who has all the information and who is very well versed with what was done, how it was done and conducted, so if we can have that information, because we don't have that. What we heard at the P&Z was not very encouraging, and hence this is the request that we're making, because he didn't seem to know a lot of things that, how it was done, whether it included a cut through, when it was done, and I mean, that should be something the city should be very well versed with. So that's one request we're making. And
anything else, Ms. Pond?
that's it.
Okay, so I've been told that staff will be available for those
Okay.
questions in the intervening 2-week period. And I'm sure we'll be able to answer your questions.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Good evening. Nilesh Pagare, 140 Juniper Drive. To give you more insight into the question about information, what Attorney Hager wants is they hired a firm, legal firm, OK and Associate, and they filed a motion at Texas AG's office to withhold item number 3, okay, from our PIR that was requiring that is related to the information between city and the Lee Engineering and other items. So those that copy of the brief is already available with city as well as city attorney, and we filed our requested brief requesting Texas AG why they should let city share that information with us. So if we can get that information, our blocker will be resolved. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the traffic study was done for 1 day. We're going to talk about that in 2 weeks, but there is a phase 2 study that was not completed. The traffic light location is absolutely messed up in that. So are we going to have all those things addressed between these 2 weeks so we come to a place where city resident and developer, we find some common solution? Because a lot of things are in the limbo state, right? There is a lot of things we have talked about in our email chain about how P&Z has conducted the business, including the P&Z Commission, taking decisions when the crucial data is not even available, right? The study that was claimed is done no report was available during P&Z, and the report was available after the fact. How can P&Z make a decision? So my request is we should not go and continue for after 2 weeks. You need to send the motion back to P&Z to do their job thoroughly, right, before it comes back to you, because that's where the real blocker is, okay? And there are multiple things that have happened. We're getting the form on Friday asking every every owner on the deed to sign that form at the last minute, and city person telling she herself found that today. Lot of issues here. So P&Z needs to be, P&Z process needs to be reiterated before we meet. Otherwise, we're going to come back and we're going to say the same thing, and then you're going to have things to deal with P&Z. That's my request. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to make a comment this evening? Understanding that all of you, Ms. Pound, all of you reserve the right, obviously, to speak freely and fully at the next one, subject only to the 5-minute time limit. Okay, I guess any other discussion, or is there a motion on the table? Council member,
You have a question? Yeah.
okay, Council member Prem Kumar?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to clarify before the motion. I thought Mr. Subramaniam made a comment that he prefers that we don't move this to 2 weeks, 2 weeks later, till all the information that he needs is given to him. But that's not what we are proposing right now. I just wanted everyone to be aware. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Prem Kumar. Is there a motion?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Walker. I have a question. Did we read the agenda item 9 to record before
Yes.
we went to the executive meeting? Okay,
Well, we read it when we came back.
okay. Did
Right.
we?
Oh, we read it before, sorry.
Okay,
We read it
just wanted
before,
to make
yes,
sure.
we did.
So that we can continue the public hearing.
Yes.
So my motion is to extend this public hearing until August 25th, Tuesday.
Okay, is there a second? I see a second from Councilmember Prem Kumar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand.
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill, none opposed. Motion to postpone carries.
Okay. Thank all of you for being here and for your passion and your insight.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure he's dying. Hey, thank you, dear, as always.
Oh, thank you. I was looking for it. I know, it's still.
All right, item number 10 is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing and ask Ms. Tian to read it into the record.
Thank you, Mayor.
Or do you want me to in your?
No.
Okay.
I have it. So this evening, we are holding a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed 2026-27 budget for the Coppell Crime Control and Prevention District. So thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening, we are holding the public hearing on the Crime Control and Prevention District's fiscal year 27 proposed budget that Council is required to hold as the governing body. Specifically, Chapter 363 of the Local Government Code states that the governing body that created the Crime Control and Prevention District shall hold a public hearing on the budget adopted by the Crime Control Board. The Crime Control Board, which is made up of the 7 voting members of the council, held a public hearing on June 9th of this year. No citizens signed up to speak. That public hearing was closed, and the board approved the proposed budget with one change. Staff was directed to remove the reimbursement by the Coppell Independent School District for the SRO program. So before I present the Crime Control's fiscal year 27 budget, I would like to provide you with some background. So first, the Crime Control and Prevention District is a special purpose district created by government, created and governed by the Texas Local Government Code, Section 363. It's designed to provide crime prevention programs and services to the community. And funding for the district is from a 0.25% sales tax that was approved by voters. Next, the special district, the Crime Control District, is authorized only if the district and the sales tax are approved by a majority of the qualified voters. The sales tax for the district was originally passed in November of 2007, and the Crime Control District began collecting sales tax in April of 2008. The initial term was for 5 years, and it would have expired in April of 2013. But in November of 2011, the sales tax was reauthorized, but this time for 10 years, with a new expiration date of April of 23. However, the quarter-cent sales tax for the Crime Control District was again reauthorized for another 10-year period by voters, and that was done in November of 2022. So now the reauthorization expires in 2033, and the Crime Control District, for it to continue, there would be a new vote would need to take place in November of 2032. So last, since the sales tax is restricted or committed to expenditures for a specific purpose, I just want to let you know that the Crime Control and Prevention District is a special revenue fund of the city of Coppell and is included in the Coppell budget. So now that you have background, I will present the proposed budget. So this slide shows the revenues and expenditures of the Crime Control and Prevention District, and a few items that I'd like to point out. Before I begin, first, sales tax is budgeted as if the rule changes to Rule 3.334 are in effect. This budget does include the cost of all the SROs with no reimbursement from the school district as directed by the CCPD board. And the budget continues the joint ventures with the neighboring cities to effectively and efficiently provide E911 and jail service. So to begin, this slide shows the revenues and expenditures, and on the left are the revenues. The graph on the left shows that total expenditures of total revenues of the fund is about $4.4 million, and about 97% or $4.3 million is from sales tax. The remaining revenue is from interest income. Regarding expenditures, total Crime Control and Prevention expenditures are projected to be about $6.4 million for the next fiscal year. Expenditures include approximately $2.3 million for salary and benefits related to 14 SROs and 1 administrative compliance officer. The services category, which is the gold or yellow portion of the pie, is about $2.5 million, or about 39% of total budgeted expenditures. This fiscal year, the 27 proposed budget includes payments to North Texas Emergency Communication Center for E911 dispatch services. It also includes which is the joint venture between Carrollton, Farmers Branch, and Addison. And it also includes the contract with the city of Grapevine to provide jail service. So these are 2 examples of cities working together to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars through collaboration and sharing in the cost of these services. Services also includes a reimbursement to the general fund for the administrative services, and those are those services that are provided by the general fund, like HR, IT, and finance, that we provide to other funds and to other departments. And then the capital outlay category is about 1.3 million, and that represents about 20% of the total budget. And this year, the police department has requested that all radios of the police department be replaced, and that is what that amount is for. And then finally, the transfer out category is about 176,000, or almost 3%. And this is the transfer to the Capital Replacement Fund and the Enterprise Solutions Replacement Fund for the vehicles and then any software or IT equipment used by the SROs. That is the 1 year of useful life is transferred for those items. So to summarize, the proposed budgeted revenues for fiscal year 26-27 is estimated to be about 4.4 million, and expenditures are about 6.4. And that was an overview of the Crime Control and Prevention District's proposed budget for the 26-27 fiscal year. The agenda item is a public hearing on the budget for the Crime Control and Prevention District, which the governing body that created this district is required by Chapter 363 of the Local Government Code to hold. The actual adoption of this budget will occur with the adoption of the entire city budget scheduled for your consideration of approval at the September 8th City Council meeting. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and Chief Barton is here and available for questions too.
Council, do you have any, Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. Gosh, my time in the limelight was so brief. But I'll let you, I'm glad you've got the job and not me. So, Ms. Tian, with respect to the radios, so is that the radios the officers wear and the radios in the car and all that good stuff? Okay, super. And then I just wanted to comment that I think, given the conservative nature of our investment policy, the fact that you're making 3.4% and $150,000 in interest income on the sales tax that we have invested is really a very fine accomplishment. Good job.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Matthew.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Question for you is, we have 15 police officers listed here, and they all are getting paid from the sales tax, right? From the Crime Control Prevention District budget.
All SROs are being paid from the Crime Control and Prevention District budget, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about total 15.
So we're showing 13 SROs and 1 sergeant, correct? And then there's 1 administrative position that's in that budget also, for a total of 15 employees.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, any other questions? This is a public hearing, and we did have 1 person signed up to speak. So I'd like Mr. Randy Fight to come forward. List your name and address, please.
All right, Randy Fight, 200 South Denton Tap. So, good evening. My name is Randy Fight. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Coppell ISD. And I'm here tonight just to say thank you on behalf of the district for your ongoing support of our students. In these challenging economic times, and as districts like Coppell ISD are facing unfunded mandates, the city's financial commitment to providing school resource officers to ensure the safety and security of our students, staff, and families is something we do not take lightly. The City of Coppell and Coppell ISD continue to foster a strong and collaborative relationship, and as we work together to serve these great citizens of our community, while funding these SROs out of the city's budget is certainly a significant commitment, the city has continued to prioritize the safety of our students and families. That commitment means a great deal to us, and for that we are extremely grateful. Thank you again for your continued partnership and support, and I look forward to continuing the great relationship between the City of Coppell and Coppell ISD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fight, I have to apologize. I was supposed to read a blib to tell you what to say and how to say it, and I forgot to do it, but you did fine, so thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Is there any questions for Ms. Tian or Chief Barton? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor Mays. I just wanted to point out that last time I was able to get the numbers a couple of years ago, I think it's important to point out that because this is all being funded, the SROs are being funded by sales tax, that our best guesstimate is that that means that roughly 60+% of that cost is being funded by people that do not reside in Coppell and that come into our town, whether it's one of our fine restaurants or other business establishments, and spend their money, and then we collect that sales tax. And so, you know, this is not only wonderful support for the school district and for our children and staff and the families that you know, that come to our campuses, but it's also really being paid largely by non-residents through the sales tax payments. So that's, I don't want anyone to think that you know, it's anything else. I think that's an important point. Thank you, Mayor.
We'll check on, I haven't seen those numbers. The last number I had was 66%, but it's up in that range.
I like that number too.
All right. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, I will be willing to take a motion. Mayor Pro Tem.
I move that we close the public hearing and adopt the
Item 10.
and adopt item 10 as stated.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? Councilmember Carroll. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill, none opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tien.
Thank you.
Item number 11 is the city manager reports with project updates, future agendas, and direction from work session. Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. A few updates tonight. On Bullock and Howell project, the contractor is working on punch list items, so rounding home on that project. Royal Lane reconstruction, storm drain installations are in progress. The Atmos gas line relocation is also in progress, and subgrade work is in progress. The Justice Center remodel finishes are being installed currently. And at the Fire Station 3, if you were on site today, you noticed that the contractor poured the slab today. So that's a big milestone for that project. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Item number 12 is a new addition to our agenda. This is a mayor's report on the Metroplex Mayors Association with no council action or deliberation permitted. I went back and watched some old videos of older council meetings and found out that it had been routine for the mayor to report on these meetings, so I'm more than happy to do so. The Metroplex mayors met this morning down at the Marriott, DFW North, and we had a very interesting speaker this morning. We had Mayor Josh Schroeder from the city of Georgetown and his city manager, David Morgan. And they spoke on how they had activated their citizens to become involved in the legislative process. And they had 3 to 4 techniques that they were using. And the first one that they talked about and were very proud of is they had created a citizens advisory committee. And it was sort of like we used our 2040 plan, where we had a group of citizens come together and voice their concerns. And it wasn't necessarily that the citizens were developing the work plan or their legislative agenda. They were contributing to it. But what they got them to do was to get active with their legislators. And not only did their advisory group get active, but they got their friends, and it spilled out into a much larger community. They used a series of videos. They were citing a case where one of the senators from Houston that we all have come to love had been saying some very interesting things on record, and they pieced together a very telling story using his own video, and they were basically asked not to play it, and they were able to use it as leverage to get a concession to part of their legislative agenda. And a very big part of it was messaging. Georgetown was hit with a House Bill 840 last session, which had some fancy name, but it basically put the zoning rules in the control of Austin rather than local. And they called it, Georgetown started calling it apartments everywhere. And it basically gave the city no opportunity to stay where multifamily would be. And they use this very effectively to get the message out to their citizens. Their citizens contacted their representatives and senators. And I found it very interesting. That's been very similar to what we've been doing with the Austin Gap. So I'll be approaching this council next year after the 89th legislative session is over to see if we might want to form an advisory committee similar to what Georgetown did. It seemed to be very effective. The Metroplex mayors has grown to 48 member mayors and city managers. We have over 30 industrial advisory partners and sponsors, and it has grown into a very robust group. So it's been very rewarding to be part of it, and I plan on presenting this once a month. Next month will be a report from the North Texas Commission, Chris Wallace, on the legislative update. And there will be a whole series of events after that. So thank you very much for the opportunity to report on that. Item number 13 is Mayor and Council reports on recent and upcoming events. Boards and commission applications are now live. Please consider submitting your application to participate on a board or commission to help guide the development, future needs, regulations, and more for Coppell. For more information, please visit the website coppelltx.gov/boards and commissions. Just as a friendly reminder, school does start tomorrow, and please be cautious, slow down in active school zones, and be mindful of the increase in both pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Be aware that this will probably last for about a week, and then things will get back to a new normal. We wish our educators, students, and parents the best of luck as they work towards another successful school year. Item number 14 are public service announcements concerning items of community interest with no council action or deliberation. Do we have any public service announcements? Seeing none, I'm sorry, Councilmember Prem Kumar.
Thank you, Mayor. I was hoping either you or Councilmember Nevels would say this, but today afternoon, the Coppell Chamber of Commerce had its monthly luncheon, and the key features were the 10+ service organization. It was really nice to see the Chamber of Commerce work hand in hand with the nonprofits to help make Coppell a great city. And I was happy that city council members were able to attend that. With that, I can conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the reminder. Item number 15 are necessary actions from the executive session. Councilmember Hinojosa Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kyle Mitchell and Robin Ramsey as alternate municipal judges for Coppell Municipal Court for a 2-year term, and to authorize the city manager to execute the appropriate contract for a like term.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second from Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill, none opposed, motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. There being no further business before this council, we are adjourned at 9:11 p.m.